Howdy, everyone. Welcome to the Money Store. My name is AJ. Today I'm doing an interview with my friend going by the alias of Michael. And yeah, today we're going to be doing a sort of interview and getting some thoughts on the current situation with La Luz del Mundo and Michael's experiences in the organization and so on. So, hi, Michael. How you doing, man?
Hey AJ, how are you?
Doing good. It's good to talk to you.
Good, good.
I was gonna say that yeah, how did we meet? So I think the way that we
Um,
met was, oh no, you can go ahead.
okay. So I watch a lot of your videos and I was just like really curious. Um, and I like your channel a lot because a lot of, well, most of, actually all of your videos, my bad, are all in English. So it's like easier for me to understand. And I just like really like your content. And um, since I was seeing all of your videos, I was like, I need to talk to this guy. Like, I really want to talk to this guy. Um, and I decided to send you an email, and then we just started chatting there for a bit. I was just telling you a little bit where I'm from and stuff like that. And then I asked for your IG, and we started talking more on Instagram. And yeah, it's basically how we met.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I think you're cool as fuck, and I'm glad to know that there's young people like you that are looking for like are looking for sort of resources and are questioning the the institution and so on. And yeah, glad to have you on. Um, so yeah, we will say for the audience, just to be transparent, is that Michael is not your real name. Michael's just an alias that we chose, and you've chosen to not show your face, and I respect that. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts? Do you want to share any thoughts with why you've chosen to do that?
Yeah, so the reason why I don't want to show my face is because I really like I live close to church. So if someone sees that I'm like out of church, they'll just throw so much hate on me, they'll threaten me and send me like very hateful messages. So it's very crazy because you can't actually say what you feel or what you think because then they just see you as like the devil himself.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I won't say that. I won't say that someone like me has gotten like death threats and other very like worrying things like that. Actual like I don't think I'd say that I've gotten threats at all. But and that's that as you're sort of saying, that's a feature of like that's a feature of cults, and um that's a feature of cults where people join the group and then there's never any legitimate reason to for a person to leave the group. And say someone does leave the group, then very often there's often a lot of restrictions about what reasons you would even go and talk to such a person that has left the group. Because if anything, if people join any sort of group or job or organization, anything like that, you would want to know who's part of it, of course, but then also just who got out and why they get out. Like when you go to a university, you would like to know um, just why, who are those students that are falling through the cracks, and can you be one of those people? Glad that we can be putting like English content out there on YouTube. There's a lot of Spanish content that I just love. That's really 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 good. Like Virginia Beckett's channel is like super essential. I'm sure you've probably been there. And for the purposes of like informing oneself and seeing the documents for oneself when it comes to the court case against Naason. And other plant channels that I just love are like Analizando la Doctrina LLDM with Dante Mandela. Love that channel. It's incredible. I've learned so much,
Mhm.
and I've learned a lot. But it's in Spanish. It's in Spanish. And then another one that's really really good is Salir de una secta. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but I always put these sort of names out there because these are very important um, platforms and that are coming out that are just going straight for the organization and really trying to undermine it as much as they can. And I've learned a lot from them. But when it comes to like sort of English on La Luz del Mundo online on YouTube, there's for sure plenty of news coverage and like Law and Crime Network, and of course like the trial itself is happening in English and in the United States. But for me, I feel like the sort of English content on YouTube could be better, and it could also I also really want to like push the conversation to not just be about um being ex LLDM, but more so just being anti cult in general, because some members within La Luz del Mundo, a cult, have come from other cults like Jehovah's Witnesses, um, just other sorts of groups. But then also
Mhm.
when it comes to when it comes to this group now that we're trying to get them out of, I want to be careful about um, these people that leave La Luz del Mundo and not ending up in the hands of some other Joaquin-esque scheme. Um, yeah, so I'm glad that we can have you on and talk about this stuff. So what can you tell us about sort of you don't have to give your age or your exact location, but sort of what country do you reside in? What's your sort of upbringing? What's the history of your family within the church? That kind of stuff.
So I'm from the United States, and but it's only three people from my family that are actually out of church, like fully.
Yeah.
Um, we understand and we see everything that's going on with the case, and it's just wrong.
Mhm.
But my dad still believes he's very firm on his faith, I guess you could say. um, but yeah, he does not want to leave the church. I talked to him, I gave him my points, but he just ignores it, doesn't really listen to me.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah, and you were your had your parents always been part of the group, or are they from like Guadalajara? Are they from like
So,
mhm.
mhm. My mom is actually from Guadalajara, Jalisco. She went to oh, and I was gonna say the church, but never mind. I'm not saying which church, but
Okay.
she's from Guadalajara. And then my dad is from Veracruz, and they met um in la librería de where Perea is, by the
Yeah.
provincia.
Yeah, and
Um, so yeah, my parents, they were both born in church, so I was too. Um, and yeah.
yeah, so I asked those questions because like a lot of the members that a lot of the people that watch this content in English, like obviously are most likely in the United States, um and then also because so often they are the sons of that they are the sons and daughters of immigrants, and there's that and it's strange to know that La Luz del Mundo is this organization that started in Mexico, and it's headquartered in Guadalajara, but nevertheless it has locations elsewhere, even across into the US border. And even then, like a lot of us can sort of have the same weird experiences growing up in the organization. Probably for sure different than the way a teenager grows up in the province and Hermosa Provincia, but also but still we still end up like going down the sort of same sort of rituals and whatever else. um and that's what I wanted to get into. What can you tell me about what can you tell everyone about your upbringing and the organization?
Okay, so when I felt like I was like really getting in my faith and stuff, and I felt like really holy, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It was when I was 12 years old. Like I was like ready. I was like, bro, like when I hit 14, like I'm gonna get baptized. Like that's my decision. Like I'm really into it. And I know it sounds funny because you're supposed to wait until like you're 14 so that you can get baptized.
Yeah.
But I was like telling my pastor at 12 years old, I was like, I want to get baptized already. Like I just feel it. But he was like, no, you have to wait till you're like 14. So I don't know. I was really sad, but at the same time, I was like, well, I mean, you do have to also understand the rules of the church. And he told me that I could just get in choir instead. Meanwhile, um, so yeah, I joined choir when I was 12 years old, and I really loved it because like we're just singing beautiful pues cantos, and pues it's to God, and some of them are to the apostle of God, but yeah, it was just like really helping me grow my faith.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's also I knew people like around that age that got involved um in the choir, that got involved in other sort of side organizations, but like mainly the choir. What was one way
Hmm.
of people of keeping people attentive, part of a group within the church, a subgroup, but that this subgroup like really attends church, very often, and there's like practice time that goes into it, and there's a lot of money that has to be shoveled out of members' pockets in order to have the uniform and have the expensive binders, um,
Yeah.
sometimes iPads even. I saw a lot of iPads. Um, but I'm also not surprised about you saying that you wanted to probably that you were asking about getting baptized, earlier than you should have been, or earlier than is normal, because uh I'm not surprised. I feel like, I've seen that too. And then also, I think I've even like heard of a story where someone were a young girl, like by the age of 10 or 9 or something like that, was said to have already received the Holy Spirit. And we haven't
Mm.
gotten to that, um but the thing is that, like, people, kids growing up in the organization, the organization is all they know, and they just, they're just going to sort of, that's all they know, that they attend this thing, so many times a week. They attend church every Sunday, and this stuff, this stuff uh they don't know anything else outside of it. And so, I'm not
Mhm.
surprised that, someone as young as you probably still, what was, going down that path.
Yeah. Yeah,
And so
well,
tell
I
me about your, oh no, go on.
oh, sorry. Yeah, well, yeah, like you said, so basically, like, that's all you see, and, like, it's like, I was in the kids choir, actually, so I started off, like, it at a young age, going to church a lot, because I know there's, like, some people that kinda don't really go to church, or just goes, like, on Sundays, but I was going almost, like, every day, and also for, in the kids choir. So
Yeah,
that's why I feel like, at such a young age, I already wanted to get baptized, so yeah.
yeah, for sure. And that's like one of the that I the angle, the sort of the idea of like children and what their parents' rights are over them, and how what sort of ways children are allowed to be raised in our world, in this country, is interesting, when it comes to La Luz del Mundo. But it's not unique to La Luz del Mundo, because there's a bunch of other churches and organizations that have kids that are born into it, and they don't know anything else outside of it. And so, um, uh, it's difficult. To some people, like, really object to children growing up in religious contexts, like as a whole. But then also, that's also so like prevalent. That's all over the place, and it's hard to. I'm not so sure. I'm not sure how to square that circle, but yeah. Well, what can you tell me about, like, um, your baptism, and the what happens around the age of 14? Because, La Luz del Mundo says that um, children, they're spiritually immature, and it's not until the age of 14 where these children can start to make like big religious decisions for themselves, that, that are for, ostensibly they're for life. um yeah, what can you tell us about that, your experience in that?
So yeah, when I was already 14, well, I decided to make the decision and, get baptized. And,
Mhm.
basically you just, go front in the church, and the pastor is, asking questions, basically saying that, like, you have to follow these rules, or like, do you agree to follow these rules? And you just basically, like, raise your hand.
Yeah,
So I raised my hand to all the questions, basically saying yes. Raising my hand meant saying, like, yes, I do want to, do this. Um, and yeah, just, well, yeah, I don't know much to say about, like, the baptism.
hmm.
Um, I was just,
What
fuck.
about your, yeah, the sort of there's three things that happen when people turn 14. There's the whole presentation, and I know that you said you wanted to talk about that. And then also there's the baptism, and then there's the revival. The revival is the hardest one of the three, but it's basically, these rituals that are placed at the age of, that are all stuffed like right into the age of 14, uh, for for kids. And yeah, the baptism is one of the easier things, because all you have to, ostensibly all you have to do is just, go up and walk, ask the be asked the questions, raise your hand to them, and then get baptized and move on, right? That's sort of very easy, but um, the other
So
stuff around this age is what I mean.
oh, okay, okay. So yeah, after you get baptized, then you have to receive the Holy Spirit, and it's just basically you go inside the church and you just get down on your knees, but you have to keep saying Gloria a Cristo, Gloria a Cristo, Gloria a Cristo, and just let your tongue go.
Hmm.
And at the same time, you have to pray to God, basically ask for forgiveness, and also ask Him to receive the Holy Spirit so that you can have communication with God.
Yeah.
Um, I remember my first time; it was very hard. I was very frustrated with myself, very sad, and my family, they were treating me like shit. They were basically telling me that I'm not shit, that you're like a piece of trash, and you're not shit, dude. So I felt really bad because I was like, damn, like my family really like think bad of me, and
Yeah.
I was very sad because it's like so crazy how like they just like put me down, and yeah, so that was a moment that was very hard for me. And the second time I had received the Holy Spirit, um, I was basically very tired of just being there and just having to cry and be on my knees for like an hour or 2 hours. I don't know how long it is. I honestly forgot. But
Hmm.
I ended up just like getting up and sitting down and like the first 20 minutes. And I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not doing this. Like, this is so hard and frustrating. And my mom, she went to the back with me and she's like, we need to talk. And she was just telling me, like, you need to get back there and you need to receive like the Holy Spirit. Like, this is not right where you're going.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, like, I have to go back. And I was just basically went back and I went back on my knees and I started praying and everything. And I honestly was just like waiting for it to be over.
Hmm.
And then out of nowhere, just in the revivals, they were saying, people who I already received, and they said my name, and I was like, "What?" And honestly,
Yeah.
I felt like very excited. I was very happy, but at the same time, it was like I didn't really like feel anything. I just kind of felt like I was tired already of it, and I
Yeah.
just wanted it to be done. And I was just um, like I was confused because I was like, they're basically saying that like when you speak your tongues, like you have communication with God, but I was like, kind of really didn't feel anything, and they just said my name. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of people fake it too, so it's like
Yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. There's more to talk about, but I want to jump in and say that, um, thank you for sharing that, and it's a weird experience that people go through, and I wanted to ask, like, I wanted clarification. So, do you feel like you did feel something? Did you like, do you feel like you were one of the fakers, or, um, yeah, I'll share what I have to think about me, but yeah, go on.
Okay, so at the same time, I'm not gonna lie. I actually did feel like something there.
Mhm.
Honestly, felt like there was someone that hugged me from behind, and it just felt weird because there
Yeah,
was actually no one. It just felt like it was like a spirit or something, but basically just like
yeah,
giving me a hug, and I was like, oh my god, like I don't know, it felt like really nice.
hmm,
And I'm not gonna lie about that, like, something that I actually felt, um, and then, um, I feel like I was one of the fakers too at the same time because I was just putting like a happy face, and I wasn't crying. I wasn't,
hmm,
being like desesperado because I feel like brothers that are desesperados because they still haven't received, but I
yeah,
feel like maybe if pastors see that someone is just calm and he's just happy, then it's like
yeah,
he doesn't have the necessity no more to like keep asking for it. Like he already received it. So
hmm,
I feel like maybe with the brothers que se desesperan or something like that, they see that they haven't received because the way that they're acting or
yeah.
through desesperación.
Hmm. Yeah, I asked because I definitely have the same experience of when I was told that I received. where the first immediate and only feeling, basically the only feeling that I had was of just relief, of just it's finally over. It wasn't that I wanted the confirmation from that I had been touched by God and that the people around me saw it. Um, I didn't even want that necessarily because I wanted to be touched by God. It was more so just I just wanted the relief. I just wanted everyone to get off my shoulders and leave me alone. This sort of experience of the revivals, the more that I've thought about it and grown away from it, the more I see it as just this sort of hazing ritual. It's the spiritual hazing ritual that is done on young people at a particular age, where a number of other things are happening. Puberty for one sort of broad example, but then also it's a sort of coming of age, becoming closer to an adult. Then there's the presentation that goes on. There's that ritual. Then there's the ceremony of the baptism. Then just a lot of stuff is happening at the age of 14, and the revivals are this one, or the sort of hardest step that is not guaranteed to happen at the age of 14, because you can fail, like you did. I failed 3-4 times, I forgot, but it wasn't until the fourth or fifth time that I supposedly received. It took me almost 2 years, and it's just this hazing. It's just this sort of hazing ritual that is done by members upon each other, and it is a sort of trance that you are told to get into.
Yeah.
That's a word that came into conversation with the friend that I had a couple with the conversation with the friend that I had in a conversation a couple weeks ago. And it's a trance that people are sort of put into. It's a very stressful, uncomfortable physically situation, and then there's a lot of singing and noise and stimulus around you, and there's this yeah, I could talk about this all day long, but I
Um,
go on.
mhm. Oh, so I have a question. So did you feel anything, or did you try to
hmm
receive the Holy Spirit, or every time you went, it was just like, I kind of just want this to be done?
So I did. So the hardest that I tried was the time that I did receive. Like in
Hmm.
terms of by trying, we mean like sort of consecrating myself, not watching TV, sort of
Yeah,
being
all that.
quiet, going to church, thinking about church a lot all day long. What else did I do? I would, and then there's a sort of setting the environment for myself, but then there was also um, the the once I'm on the ground on my knees doing the praying and all that stuff. Was I trying there? I was trying. I definitely know, and I definitely saw how, I don't know if to say like consciously, but I know that I definitely saw that that my tongue was going in certain directions as I let it go on, as I sort of just said the same synonyms over and over again, making the same sort of sounds over and over again. I saw how my language and my the sounds coming out of my mouth were like warping into and shape shifting. But
Hmm.
then when it comes to like praying mentally, I definitely did try there. But I can't say in that whole last experience of the revivals if I felt like a moment where like a snap of the finger happened and something new was happening to me. I can't say that I felt that. Um,
Okay.
and so then days later when they did confirm, when they did say to everyone, and I was the first person named that day, when they did say, this person you received, I the first immediate feeling was just relief. I was just glad that all these people were going to finally, like, leave me alone about this one thing, and that I wouldn't have to be called a person that's vacío, which is empty, spiritually empty.
Yeah.
You don't have the
Hmm.
Holy Spirit in you yet. um that's a good question. And here's another thing that I was writing about. There's another channel by Abisai. I forget his last name, but I know it's Abisai. Are you familiar with him?
No,
No. His channel's
no.
name is the Abi Lobby, the ABI Lobby, and he has a number of videos. He did an interview like a week or two ago with Rafael Colque. That channel speaks Spanish, but I know on Abi's channel he talks a little bit of Spanish. I know he does talk Spanish, but maybe he has stuff on in English. But anyways, one time he was explaining something about the age of 14 that's interesting to me, and that I really liked, because there's the baptism, there's the presentation, there's the um, uh, there's also and then there's also the revival thing. He talked about how he didn't like how these different steps at the age of 14 can happen at different times in different orders, and so then therefore um, it was this sort of roller coaster ride for him that he describes, where he says that one day you're on the ground, on your knees begging for God, telling him to not let you be a spiritual orphan, because if you die and you don't have the Holy Spirit in you, you're gonna go to hell. He said he didn't like going from that one day to then receiving it and becoming the son of a king, and then oh, but you still have to baptize yourself, and then oh, okay, now you're actually really really clean of your stuff. And then
Yeah.
maybe people go through people go through these rituals in different orders, and so therefore given the language that's around you and the label that's applied to you, you're sort of going in a zigzag, um and to sort of like did you know what I mean? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, like, going back to when people are infants in the organization, you're presenting them in the church, and you're saying that they're joyas, that they're jewels, that they're
Mhm.
jewels from that they're jewels from God. Children are very special, and we have to take care of this child. This child is very special. It's a gift from God, whatever. But then later on, 14 years later, um, you're telling the same human being that's now matured more, that they are, that they're the scum of the earth, and that they're going to go to hell if they die at soccer practice next
Yeah.
week.
Wow,
It's
you're
just
so right
terrible. Do
about
you know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I love that. I
I
love
didn't
that
think
Abby
about it
points
like
that
that.
out, because it's it's a again it's a hazing ritual. You're at that age where you don't really know what you're thinking and who you are. You're still kind of sort of formulating your identity, and then there's just all this stupid noise that's around you, this religious noise around you that only serves to like confuse you more.
Yeah,
Yeah. Did you have any
yeah.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's really crazy. I honestly didn't think about it like that, but
Yeah.
you're right about that because when you're a kid, they say like que son joyas. Yeah, when you're 14, basically try to humiliate you. Is that how you say it? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Humiliate,
yeah. So, and
humble
I'm like,
you.
bro, like I'm only 14 years old, and like you're telling me I'm not shit, and like basically just like making me feel like I'm the worst thing ever on this planet, like that I should have like probably never been born or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like my dad was basically telling me too. He's like, like you're worse than like a freaking worm, or like you're not shit, dude. Like if you don't receive like you're nothing.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's like crazy because I did not see it like that, honestly. Or I didn't remember about
No,
that.
but I'm right.
About
Well, me and Abi, not me and Abi, but Abi's right when he says that um, people go through these steps in different orders, right? Like
hmm
some people will end up being baptized before they're presented. Some people are presented, all that stuff. It comes in different orders sometimes.
yeah.
And so, for different people, they feel the roller coaster too in different ways. And some people don't feel the roller coaster at all. Some people are like receive and are presented and everything within like a month or like a couple weeks, but it's strange. It's really strange.
hmm
And then uh that's how the church like just grows so much, is by succumbing to having natural growth, marrying people within the church by itself, forbidding forbidding people in a lot of ways sexually growing up, and so that therefore they only end up marrying people within the church, and then encouraging children, and all that stuff, and then also once those children come around, trying to like I don't like the term brainwashing, but just really trying to set up restrictions around them as they grow up, so that they end up staying in the church and continuing to be part of it for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, now that you mentioned something about
Mm,
like the weddings in church and stuff like that, what came to mind was about the obreros when they get married in church, some of the obreros they go to La Hermosa Provincia, or I'm not sure if all of them they have to, but I know that they do go to La Provincia, and they basically marry just like random people, like basically like obreros, and they just like, oh, like it's because Nason, or like the apostle of God, he
Yeah.
chose this hermana for you, or this hermano for you, and
Have you
like,
ever seen this? Like, have you ever gone to one?
no, I haven't gone to one. I just seen photos and videos and stuff
Yeah,
like
it's a
that,
thing.
but
It's a
I've
thing.
never actually been there. Yeah. But it's just crazy how like I remember I saw this ex-pastor, he was talking about it too, and he's like, it's
Yeah.
crazy how like the next morning you're already like sleeping with someone that you don't even know. Like you don't even know that person and you're married to that person now. It's just crazy.
Yeah, definitely. So I can so these are the people that we're talking about are the so there's the ministers. There's the people that are broadly, within the ministry, which is like the body of people that's trying to promote the church and grow it and all that stuff, and talk about the church and all that. But then within that body of ministers, it's a percentage that's like really small. It's a tightly knit group of the incondicionales, the unconditional people, and that means that they like literally have like signed their lives away to whoever's the apostle, be it Naason right now or be it Samuel. And Samuel's really the one that made that a thing, that made the unconditionals a thing. But yeah, like you were saying, is um, within marriage within the church also entails that the incondicionales can be just straight up married to whoever the fuck the apostle chooses,
Yeah.
because they signed their lives away, and these are both men
Hmm.
and women. And you're right, dude, that people legit like are in the ministry, and they're told, hey, in a week you're getting married, be prepared. And then they go to the ceremony, and they're there, and they see their spouse's face for the very first time, like right there, right at the altar.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
uh,
crazy. Yeah.
I can tell you that
So,
I've seen this. Like I've actually been to a ceremony. I
oh
saw this.
wow.
Yeah, I was really young. I didn't I knew what it was. I knew what was happening. Not all the couples there were incondicionales and were arranged marriages, but a good chunk of them were. Half of them, whatever. It was actually several couples. It was like around a dozen or 10 people. It was at the ranch in Texas. Um,
Yeah, I actually had una hermana obrera right here. She was in Conditional too, and she basically went to Guadalajara, and she got married with some random dude. Like she didn't know him,
yeah.
and they were after that they were sent to Europe. If I'm not wrong, I think she's in Switzerland.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're just like there, and I still have her on Facebook, and she looks happy and stuff. But it's just crazy to me, like just marrying someone random. Like, what if I don't know, like no sabes si te va a caer bien or no, or how things are gonna be. Like fuck, I don't even know him or her.
Mhm. Yeah. I wonder how all these people doing. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's really strange to know that it's a thing. And well, one other thing I can say is that, like, yeah, I know, like, family members that are like the results of that are the results of, or that are part of these arranged like marriages. It's fucking crazy.
Hmm. Yeah.
Another thing that I can say about growing up in La Luz del Mundo and sort of the arranged marriages and so on is that I was thinking of making a video about how the emotion of love is felt in the organization. For sure, people love each other, everywhere, across every culture. People feel love, and they know what it is, and they report it, and they express it to one another in different ways, and so on. But within La Luz del Mundo, that they feel love. They have their children. They have families. They spend time with one another. They pray for one another. They feel love, and they feel love towards God. They feel love towards Jesus, etc. But within La Luz del Mundo, that emotion is like stunted. It's qualified. It's limited. It has conditions put up on it. It's not unconditional love. It's love conditional upon love that can be expressed, but on the condition that the person you're expressing it to believes in the same fairy tales as you do. Believes in the cult, and
Yeah.
um, and it's also weird to know that like that the arranged marriages were happening um because the people within the ministry like were so into the group that they were like, yeah, this feeling of love, I think Nason can match make me one day when he's bored, on like after like a dominical or something. If he's bored, he's gonna go to the chalkboard, and he's gonna match people up just because he just fucking feels like it, right? People Yeah, people surrender that like to him. It's fucking crazy. That's so crazy to me.
Yeah, it is, dude. It's
And
so like
I respect, and these are adults. Let's say many of these people, they're adults. I respect that. If it's weird, it's really weird, and I respect it. But like, but you guys like, that's one way that you guys sort of stunt like love. That's one way that you guys sort of like pervert it for the benefit of the group, like no, and for the benefit of the group and its leader and his family. And it's just really weird.
mhm.
Yeah, I wanted to share that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're really like you're right
Actually,
about that. Is
yeah, go on, go on.
oh yeah, you're right about that. What was I gonna say? I
Uh,
forgot.
uh,
Um
I'll add
what
that.
was it?
Also, another way that sort of love is stunted is that like also like with like I'm sure and like you were saying is that um parents may love their children and all that stuff, but they really try to hammer the group into them, and they'll tell them like, in public, and they're taught to say this and think this, that they're to say to the children that, hey, if you leave this organization here, I'm gonna kick you out of my house. I'm not gonna look at you the way you want me to look at you,
Mhm.
all that stuff.
Yeah, so something similar that happened to me like that.
Yeah,
Um, well, I first saw the video of the presentation of Al-Rahim, and I saw how basically Nathan was just telling him like, oh, like if you leave church, like las puertas en mi casa para ti se cerrarán and everything. Like he basically just saying like, I'm gonna kick you the fuck out. And, like if you don't believe in church no more. And he basically did that in church so that every brother can just like see what they're supposed to do with their children if they like think about getting out. And something similar happened to me like that with my dad. Because I remember I started telling my dad like I'm having doubts. I kind of don't want to go to church no more. Like I don't I just don't want to be there no more. And
yeah,
he was just telling me like the same thing that like Mason was telling Ibrahim, and I was like, wow, like it's so crazy. Like he basically just telling me like that he's gonna kick me out of the house, like that 'cause I'm working with him right now. He's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna give you like a job no more. Like I don't want to see you. Don't talk to me." And I was just like, "Damn, dude, like you serious? Like over church? Like come on." He's
yeah,
basically saying like Naason is like everything.
yeah,
Basically, he sees like ¿cómo se puede decir? Like not bigger as a person, but like bigger. Bueno, también, ¿no? Bigger, así como que tiene más poder, pues, que he's
yeah.
gonna
Well,
like
he's more important.
give us
Yeah,
salvation.
he's the only dude that God talks to. He's the God speaks to him, and people think all these like cockamamie ideas about him. And yeah, you were talking about the video of Nathan, doing the same presentation, and he's that's important because it shows the level of coercion and pressure that is put onto young kids, about believing in the organization and all that stuff. And then it's also, like I said, and so where people can find this is that I uploaded recently LLDM compilation 3, and the last half of that video is are clips of Nason presenting his son Adoraim. And uh another place that people can find it is, I put it in another video with Julian, an interview that I did with him. And that that video, like you said, and like you've seen, and like I hope everyone else sees for themselves, it's like it's very damning, because Nathan is not apostle when he's doing it, but
Yeah,
he's the son of the apostle. And so he's setting an example like that, and he probably knows that he's going to be the next apostle. So whatever, he's setting the example. And then also, like, apart from that, he's presenting the present apostle Samuel. He's presenting Samuel's grandson Adorai. And so whatever, and then not just that, but Samuel is there. He's fucking present. So that whole thing, that whole scheme, between these three generations of, these for sure at that point, it was about to be two generations of apostles. It could be three. If Adoraim is elevated more into the organization than he is, which is interesting. I wonder how that's going to work out. But um, nevertheless, that whole thing, like like you said, is this whole example that is set for everyone else. That like you as a member, if you believe who those people are, and that they have the magic powers, and that they speak to God, and that they can divert hurricanes, and that they can raise people from the dead, and that all those things, if you as a member believe those things about these two men, then you're going to follow the example that they're setting with their child. And that you should, that they're basically showing you that, hey, you should be treating and saying these horrible things to your kid. um
Yeah, that's exactly how it is.
yeah, it's harsh. I'm sorry you had to go through that, but that's something that we all had to go through, and I'm glad that you and your family are in a better position than a lot of other people. And
Yeah.
I wish the best for you guys, and and trying to process that, and get out of the whole thing.
Thank you, Jay. I really appreciate it.
Where were you at when Naason got arrested? Like, where's you? You're clearly you're older than 14, and so like, you don't have to tell us how old you are now and how far along you are, but what were your thoughts when you when this man got arrested?
Yeah, so I was basically there's this artist that came through having a meet and greet. So I was like, oh, I wanna meet him. Like, yeah, look. So I just went with some friends and I
Who
was
was
just
it?
waiting in the line, right?
Who was it?
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna
What was it? Chief Keef?
um Jeez, Keith.
Was it Nipsey Hussle? I don't know. Young Dolph?
No, it was some Mexican artist, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was there in the line, right? And basically the owner that like set the whole thing up for the artist to come and do the meet and greet.
Yeah.
I'm friends with him. So like he took me out of the line and he was just like, hey, isn't this the leader of your church? And I was like, yeah, bro, like that's him. Like I was about to preach. Like I was ready. I was like, yeah, bro,
What
like
the hell?
I was
Yeah.
about to, yeah, I was about to preach and stuff. And then he's telling me what he got arrested for, and I was like, nah, dude, I don't believe you. It's probably like fake news. Like, pretty sure it's fake. Like, probably people are just putting shit out there, fake
Mhm.
news. And I didn't believe him at first, right? But when he was telling me like the charges and stuff of what he was getting arrested for, or de que lo están acusando, I was like, what the fuck? And then my mom, she texted me and she's like, go to church. Like they arrested the apostle of God.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck no, I'm not gonna go. Like, what do you mean go to church? And I know what he's getting accused of or arrested of. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to church like that. Like, what the hell? Like, no, there's no way. Like si ya lo arrestaron es por algo, you know? So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to church. But then I only went because ya sé que me iba a regañar mi mamá or my dad, and they were like, "What the hell? Like, why didn't you go?" So I only went for that reason. But I remember going to church, and I just like saw like the whole church went, and everyone was just crying. They were on their knees, and people were like, the church was so full that like people were outside praying and crying too. And I was like, bro, I don't feel shit, like, cause me knowing what he's getting arrested for, I'm just like, no, I don't feel like I should be praying for this dude no more. Like, ya no. And then but then I started talking to one of my friends that he went to La Obra recently. He just only went for a year. And he was basically just talking to me and telling me like that it's like false accusations and stuff like that. And that que, que Dios he's gonna answer our prayers, like, so he just basically like motivated me to like keep going to church and like not like ¿cómo se
And
dice?
not being
Not lose my
dissuaded,
faith.
and not being
Yeah,
discouraged from.
yeah. And basically what they would always say is like oh, the reason why God arrested him is para probar el fe de todos los hermanos. Like basically está sacudiendo el árbol, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's
I
basically
heard that a lot.
testing people's faith to see like who actually believes, you know? And that's why he got arrested. So that brothers could be like, "Oh yeah, you're right." Like, then I'm not gonna believe that. Like, I'm gonna be firm because I'm one of those who like stay firm with my faith. You get me? So it's like that's basically what they were saying in the beginning. And well, I believe it too. I was like, oh, well, you're probably right. Like, probably God is just testing my faith and seeing like if I would actually like fall into these type of things, thinking that He actually did it. But me knowing supposedly who He is, like I shouldn't be thinking that because He's holy and like no, He doesn't sin at all. You know. So yeah, that's why I kept going to church because I was like, nah, God is just testing my faith.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah,
I get you, I get you too, man. Yeah, I heard all of that stuff. I heard about how, you know, this is just I didn't hear God Dios está sacudiendo el árbol, but I heard sacudiendo a rug, and you know, and as if
yeah,
we're dirt. I don't know. I heard that one before a tree. I wish I was fruit instead of like dirt on a rug, but beyond that, yeah, I heard all that stuff. I was there. I'm surprised that that well, no, I'm actually not surprised because you said that one of your parents like reached out to you immediately. But I think it's interesting that someone else like saw and you know, actually told you that you experienced it there. Um, and that, you know, you're describing a lot of other things that bring me to mind, because I that day, that day, Tuesday, June 4th, when everyone found out. So the dude was arrested the day prior, but the next day is when everything went down. That day I went to church at 5 a.m. just so I could get it out of the way, and so that I could spend the rest of the afternoon at home just reading and, you know, just chilling. Uh, but 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 yeah, I go to church at 5 a.m. and then I do my stuff all day long, and then by the, you know, into the afternoon, and I'm told to go to church, and I'm like, nope, I already went. Leave me alone. And then and then and then later I'm texted like, hey, you have to come to church because something happened. And then, you know, I'm me on my way is when I'm told by so someone, you know, someone goes and picks me up, and then I'm on the drive to church, and that's when they tell me, yeah, he was arrested for accusations of this and this. And I was like, what the fuck, what are you talking about? I'm pretty sure I was not on my phone. I went inside the church, you know, I heard the message, all that shit. I went, and then after, I was only there for like just less than an hour, like inside the temple, like just 20 minutes or
Mhm.
something. It wasn't a lot. I went inside, I heard the message, and then I left. And then yeah, when I went home is when I was like, fuck no, what the fuck is going on? I'm gonna read everything. You cannot tell me that you guys are that I have to believe all the news is not necessarily fake, but I'm supposed to just disavow it, you know, just ignore it. And I'm like, no, like there's
Mhm.
something's happened. And when I heard he was arrested, I thought like it was passport issues. You know, the dude is Mexican. I'm told he flies all over the place, all that stuff. But when it comes to but then when I found out what the charges were, I was like, no man, there's something fishy here. Um, this is something's up here. You cannot tell me that I cannot research. You cannot tell me that. Like you cannot. And I'm glad that and you had that same sort of reaction too, like early on, right? Because you were saying that you didn't want to go to church
Yeah,
when they were telling you, hey, show up right now.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
mhm.
Um, so you know,
Yeah.
tell me more.
So
Like what happened more after? When did you start like learning for yourself and all that stuff?
yeah. Okay. So I remember like I got back on my faith, I guess, because I was just talking to the brothers there, and they were just like talking to me and basically like just like motivating me to go to church, and like yeah, well, basically saying that God is just testing my faith and that I should be going to church, and this is just for everyone, so that God could just test our faith. Y así. So I remember as the my mom was the one who actually like started seeing videos about it and stuff, about like Xochitl and everything. And I remember she started talking to me about it, and I got mad at her, and I was like, why are you watching that? Like, we're not supposed to be watching any of these videos. Um, like I feel like like that was getting to you. Like I really think that because
Mhm.
I feel like you don't actually believe in the apostle of God. I was like mad at her, and to the point where I started like kind of like yelling at her.
Yeah.
So she decided to like not talk to me anymore. But I know like little by little she was telling my sister some stuff. But yeah, me I was pissed, and then
Yeah.
um I
So,
remember when I found
so,
out my mom.
Sochi, let me ask us. Sochi became a thing in like, um, February 2020. Is it by then? Like by 2020? So you were like months in, still believing in the whole.
Uh, I'm not exactly sure what year or the date exact. I just remember, but yeah, it was probably in the beginning when the whole thing started happening. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was like recent
Yeah,
to Naason Joaquin's arrest.
yeah, but
Um,
still, I think it's interesting that it was a parent that was reaching down to that was trying to talk to their kid about the situation, because usually it's a lot of kids trying to talk like upwards to the parent.
yeah, yeah, and it's crazy because now I felt like I was a parent, but yeah, because
Yeah,
I was telling my mom like, "Oh, you can't be looking at that and stuff." But then I remember like my mom. I don't know if it was my mom or like me myself, like that started showing how basically Alan Jackson was just admitting that that son
yeah,
had sex with the girls, but he didn't know their age. So it's like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Like, you tell me this dude had sex like with these girls? Like, then he's not holy. Then he's not an apostle. Like, and it's his own lawyer saying it. So I'm like, what? Like, there's no way, bro. I couldn't believe it, honestly. When I like found out about everything, I was honestly like really sad. It broke my heart because I was really into the church, and I felt like I had like a como mucha fe, pues.
I remember hearing the certain particular things coming out of the lawyer's mouth, and me learning and seeing other people, seeing the discussion going around like, hey, why is he through his lawyers surrendering these things of saying like, well, yeah, me and this person had a thing, me and this person had a some sort of relationship, and then this person is trying to revive it, and so while they are saying that it's rape, we didn't, there was no rape, it was just a consensual or a thing that happened. So yeah, they're conceding that that things happened. And I remember like hearing this stuff and like remarking upon it, and hearing people say that like pointing out and discussing about like, hey man, these lawyers aren't even like church people. These people are supposed to know him very intimately in order to help him get out of where he is. But
Mhm.
but they know him very intimately, and they don't believe that these people are magical, that Nason is magical, and just yeah, it was disgusting. And then another thing that I don't think people, that was happening in those early months and years, was that like the co-defendants, Alondra and Susana, who were also arrested, they weren't being mentioned in these letters coming from Nason. Did you ever notice that? Like everyone knew that he was arrested with other women, um,
Oh yeah, yeah, I
and
know
yet
about
like in his
that. Yeah.
letters where he's like, hey, yeah, I got arrested, this and this and this, pray for me, etc., he was never mentioning the other women, saying like, hey, these
Hmm.
fellow uh, members in our faith are also going through this with me. They're arrested and they're separated from their families, pray for them and all this. He was never saying that crap.
Yeah. I was gonna say also that I remember Silem Garcia. He was basically saying
Yeah,
that the Apostle God did not know these women that he was arrested with, but there's pictures of him with them in the background, and I've seen those pictures. And what
yeah,
I was gonna say is that dude, I keep forgetting. Shit,
it's
my
all right.
bad, bro.
No, it's all right.
What was I
I'll
gonna
say
say?
that. I'll say that. I don't remember
Oh,
Silem saying that Nason probably didn't know those women. I think it was Silem that said we don't know who those women are, like within our organization, or he was saying that I, Silem, personally don't know who those women are. But nevertheless, whatever he
hmm,
said, however he tried to distance himself from them, there's still pictures, like you said, of of these women very clearly being part of the organization, and very clearly being close
yeah.
to the Joaquin people, to Silem, etc. Being within the same frame of a picture, and yet somehow it was very strange to see Silem looking to the public, to the Mexican media, and saying, "I don't know who the fuck I don't know who those people are," but yeah, it was dumb. It was just really dumb. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. So I remember, uh, Susana Oaxaca, in the video of Nason when he went to the World Cup in Russia.
Yeah.
Susana Oaxaca's in that video too with Eva. También. I
Hmm.
just know them two and also Naason, but I was
Yeah.
like, damn. So then they do know each other, I guess, because they're basically there together in the World Cup. They're hanging out. They're at a stadium in Russia, just watching a game. But
Yeah.
just seeing that Tilem basically said that he doesn't know who they are or anything like that is just crazy because I just seen videos and pictures of them that were arrested together, being in like places together and just like stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. There's all that material out there, and if someone, uh, all this stuff they were saying, all these references to like documents and photographs and videos, footage, etc. All this stuff is real, and if someone really wants to see a particular thing for themselves, let me know, and I'll find the resource for you. Um, and what else? We just don't we there's just so much to look at that I don't even bother to clip it in because it would just take way too much time to work in. But all this stuff is real. All this stuff is for real. Um,
Yeah,
uh, and yeah, those women get told very often that they are not that they get told, but we are sort of they're generally often referred to as secretaries, but they're sometimes also referred to as dietitians. I've heard that at least once or twice. But but again, like these are these are women that are very clearly around uh, Nason, and that they have some sort of close uh, knowledge of him. But somehow, like everyone else, all the other members, people who have never met him in their whole life, people who have never touched his hand and shook his hand and looked them right in the eye, like from 2 feet away. People who have never done that, a lot of these people and members will claim that they really know him. They know that he's not capable of being charged of these things. He's not capable of committing these crimes because they know who he is at bottom. They know that he is. They know that God speaks through him. They know that they have pictures of him up in their home as if he's like a family member, and that they have special dreams about him. They had visions of him when they were asking for the Holy Spirit, etc. Those sorts of things. Um, that always bothered me. Just how this man like only presented himself in very particular situations, settings, and he was never going to be in front of like a microphone at like a Q&A. He was never going to do that. And
yeah,
then yeah, this dude gets arrested and people only know him as a certain thing, and they don't know how to think of him as like someone who has a lot of time on his hands, because y'all never really see him very often. But yeah, he's flying all over the place and he has access to a lot of money. um yeah.
yeah, making a lot of money.
Yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
gonna also say this, but I don't know if I should, but I'm still gonna talk about it. If you think we should just edit this out, then that's fine.
Yeah, we'll see.
Um, I remember going to La Iglesia in Rome, with one of my
Mhm.
friends, and basically the church there is very small, and I remember that after the service, I went down to the basement of the church, and that's where the obreros are living, like in a little apartment, and they're not supposed to have that. If the police finds out, they could just close down the whole church, and yeah, they basically have nowhere to live no more. So it's just
Really?
crazy to
Yeah.
me how yeah, seeing how these people are risking their lives for the church, and then seeing how pues lo están tratando, y también a veces como que I feel bad for the hermanos that are like suffering, that are cold or very hot or hungry, and they're struggling with money, knowing that Naason has so much freaking money and he can send out like $100 or something, to the widows that are working for him. It's
Yeah.
like, no, like you have to suffer because I don't know,
It's,
bro. It's
it's
just
it's for the
crazy,
greater
but
good, because yeah, because it's for the greater good. It's necessary for the second coming of Jesus. It's God will repay you. God's the one who's gonna figure this out at the end of the day. Yeah, I know what you mean. I can share that.
Yeah.
I think we can leave this clip in, but I can share that I'm pretty sure I have. I know people who are obreros somewhere in Italy. I don't know where in Italy, and I don't know if they're still there, but I know that um, I've come close to people who live over there and are probably, and it sucks to hear that these sorts of conditions are probably allowed for them to have over there. Um, yeah, it's not nice to think about, and it's definitely like tragic to know that all these people are going through all these like sacrifices within their lives and writing over their their marriage and so on to this to this man who supposedly has magic powers.
Mhm.
And they really think he does. They really think he does.
Yeah, it's crazy, honestly, what these obreros are doing for the church. And Nason's just chilling, you know. He's
Uh,
good. He's got money. He's just chilling. He's going on tours and stuff. He doesn't really care about these
going to the World
obreros.
Cup and like a month or something
Yeah.
before the Santa Cena and paying very expensive lawyers who have defended Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey for things that I'm pretty sure members, if they sat down and read those cases, they'd probably say, yeah, I can see how these terrible men did this thing, and that I see that they have a bunch of money, and so they got Alan Jackson to defend them. But now that it's now that it's their apostle, being charged for these things, and he got the help of these kinds of lawyers. They're still going to say that, oh, it doesn't matter what the lawyers say, that what the lawyers are saying is just tactics. um
Yeah, strategies.
we actually know him, we believe he's holy and all that crap. Yeah, it's tough to see that. It's not nice to think that uh this is all possible within people, that this is all possible within like a community of people, trying to have a connection with God and trying to have a religion within their lives, trying to have a moral compass, some sort of direction in their lives. Yeah, it sucks.
Mm. Yeah, I have this question for you. I don't know if you like
Yeah,
want to put
sure.
it in the clip. This is mostly just like for you, but if you want to put it in the clip, that's fine too.
Yeah.
I was just gonna ask you, what do you think about like the motion or the petition being denied?
As of like within the past day or two, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, because I know they had filed another petition recently after the first one was denied, but they
Okay.
already denied the second one too. I don't know if you know about that.
Yeah, let's talk about like recent news. So for sure, so back in May 2nd, a little over a week ago, the almost 2 weeks ago, the Nason his trial is still set to start for June 6th. The motion was denied. So far for the past 2 weeks, June 6th is still the date to look for, and we're almost there. It's not that
Hmm.
far. Today's the 14th. Wow. Um, but what do I think? Dude, I'm just trying to keep my head down. I'm just trying to stay focused and like watch out for myself and just try to show, because so much of that is out of our hands. And but I'm optimistic. I will say that I'm optimistic that something has to happen. Like the story has not been pretty for Nation's defense, like at all, in so many instances. And the judges have if people sit down and read these documents, they will see that judges have seen certain things, they have said certain things. um, certain things are not being denied in the courtroom, certain things are being said in the courtroom that are damning and that continue to damage Nathan's image, and that I have basically like uh me and a lot of other people are really trying to hammer home how uh so much of this truth seeking venture that is the trial, so much of this whole thing is about just looking for truth. And what we're finding is that like a lot of things are horrible. I hope the dude gets convicted. I can't wait for a trial to happen. I really want to learn everything that's going on. I'm optimistic as of like these days, this all of May. I've been um I've been optimistic. What do you
Yeah,
think?
do you think oh, sorry. I was gonna ask you one more question.
No,
So,
go on.
do you think it'll get postponed again?
That there's always a possibility that the thing can get postponed. There's always, I'm not ruling that out. And every time it's a day that something is going to happen and that we're going to get some news. I'm always nervous about that. But do I think it'll get postponed? Um, I feel like we would have known already. I feel like we would have known that, and on May 2nd, we would have probably known that within the past week, as people have been checking um, the databases online to see about the present like information that's going on, the present like steps that are being taken. Isaias Alvarado, has been doing his reports, and we're all paying attention to that stuff. So far, for as much as people, so far, if you've been paying attention for the past 2 weeks, there's not really been a major reason to think that it'll be postponed again. But I don't want to.
Mhm.
I could be wrong. I don't want to be wrong. I'm just generally like trying to be optimistic about it. What do you think?
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? It's tough, because
Um,
people are waiting for this. A lot of families are waiting for this. People need,
yeah.
uh, you know, people say that they feel like optimistic and empowered because of what happened on May 2nd, and they feel like they can keep, um, pressing for more.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I'm the same way. I'm just kind of waiting, and I just want this trial to begin already. And like, pues ya querían que es culpable. So like, I just wanted to like, what I know I can't, but I just like want to see people's faces from the church when they find out that he's guilty. Like, cause
Yeah,
so crazy. Like, and it hurts me seeing my friends or people that I love that are still in the church and they still believe in this dude. Like they don't know that he's guilty or maybe they're just not really looking through the stuff. But I kind of just want this to start already and was to say that he's guilty.
yeah, and it's also, this whole thing, also this whole experience for people that are still inside the organization. A lot of it is about like keeping their own internal doubts to themselves and not expressing them out loud, and them, for sure, like biting their fingernails and being very anxious about this thing coming to a close. And I'll say, no matter how this thing comes to a close, it's not pretty, because the image of the organization is damaged. A lot of people have woken up and have basically made it their life's mission to damage this organization as much as it can, on rightful grounds, on good criticisms, on all that stuff. Um, yeah, no matter how this thing ends, it's not going to be pretty. And
Hmm.
yeah, if people are keeping things to themselves within their head, and that they're waiting for this trial, I send you all my love and support. That's really difficult to go through. But then also, I'm sure there's probably families that, like, people within families, two, three people, four, five, whatever, that within themselves, they're like, yeah, we don't buy this thing. We're waiting for this trial to happen so that we can use it, so that we can learn more, um, so that we can find more material to argue about and discuss and like dissect and understand, and confirm what we believe, or maybe like challenges in what we believe. But no, ultimately, right now, if anyone is really informed about what's going on, and yeah, they would know. They would know that this whole thing does not look pretty for him. I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic for everybody. I hope it'll be helpful for people. People really need it. And again, the whole trial thing is about finding truth. It's a truth seeking venture. And so far, one branch of the government is saying, hey, this dude, he did this and this and this and this and this. And then another branch of the government is sort of overwatching the process, sort of checking out the process to see if what we do with this dude. He's arrested. What do we know about him? What do you have to say for yourself, Nason? And through his lawyers, what he has to say for himself is a lot of terrible stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not nice, and people. Yeah, my fingers are crossed. I hope that it turns out the best for everybody involved.
Yeah, of course. We can expose this dude.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on sort of what's upcoming, or uh, on the Santa Cena, if there's going to be one later this summer, on
So
yeah, and anything going on? Yeah. What do you have to say?
I remember people were just telling me like, oh, like Naason, he's about to come out, like 'cause he's gonna be here for the Santa Cena in August. Like he's coming out, dude. Um, and I was like, what the fuck? Like you actually think that? He's like, yeah. He's like, um, he's gonna be there for the Santa Cena, so we're all gonna be good, and he's basically just gonna prove everyone wrong and stuff like that. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
he's not getting out, bro. He's not getting out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Santa Cena, I don't know, it's just been weird. Also seeing Alrain and one of the Santa Cenas was like, I feel like they're just like preparing the church uh to see him as the next apostle.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, that was yeah, you're talking about the Santa Cena of 20 August 2019, and that was when Naason Joaquin, did it, and I think there was like another minister or two, that were high-ranking minister or two, that were also assisting in different parts of the ceremony. But yeah, that whole thing was, that happened. They tried to put this young man in front of everybody, and this young man is not charismatic and whatever else, like his father, and his father's, just it's this whole awkward situation. I wonder what the core top level people are planning and scheming and like brainstorming with one another. I wonder what all that is. I really do. But otherwise, they like us, they and everyone else, that we're all waiting for the trial. We're all waiting for the trial, because whatever happens there will determine what sort of path goes forward. And last thing I'll say, because we're about to, sort of conclude the video right now, but last thing I'll say is that, like, even if people like stay within the organization and somehow survive it all, it's not gonna be pretty for them. Like, it's not gonna be pretty for them as members, because the
Yeah,
organization, like, I can imagine that the organization is gonna become much more strict, and it could become much more just divisive and like poisoned, and just um like unwieldy, that that it just brings like unnecessary stress to more stress to people's lives. It's not, yeah, it's not nice. I don't look forward to that.
yeah, like just imagine like the obreros when they try to go preach. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, even just now, like what if the person that you're preaching, like they know about the case and stuff like that? They're like,
Yeah.
oh, isn't your leader in jail for this and that? And like, what are you gonna say after that? Like, no, it's not true. You can't say that there's no evidence, and they they don't know what's going on because that's what they're told to not see like stuff on the internet or like the case or anything, that only the church will let you know what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like sad, just trying to preach to people knowing that your leader is in jail those accusations.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's sad, and it's also, these people are financially dependent upon the organization, or at least maybe dependent on the organization for uh a route out of wherever they are preaching. If they're in Spain or Italy, or El Salvador or somewhere out, and a place of way outside of the where they used to live.
Hmm.
It sucks, where they're probably gonna they're thinking about that. They're thinking about, like, how is it are they gonna pay for my plane ticket back when I when I say that I don't want to leave, that I don't want to be
Oh
part of this
yeah,
shit anymore. What
yeah.
sort of information do they have on me that's like really intimate to me? And then it's also about, like, these people questioning their decisions that led them up to that situation, and questioning their own marriages. People got, like, it's horrible. It's really terrible
Hmm.
that all this stuff has to happen. But like, um but but members should not be upset at us for just trying to talk about the stuff, and like face it and confront it, and try to help people with sort of a lot of the information that's out there, and sharing our experiences and all that stuff. They should be mad at Nation. They should be mad at Nason. Nason got everyone into this, because he was he decided to abuse his power in the way that he did. So I
Yeah,
don't know,
dude.
but
Something
I'm
else.
optimistic. You know, we're not that far. We're only 1, 2, like 3-ish weeks away or something. I just hope
Yeah.
that it turns out good.
I just wanted to add this one last thing. Just like even if Nation didn't do all these things and stuff, like still not impossible, and I probably still would have been in church right now. I would be in choir and stuff,
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people. But it's just something crazy to think about. Like if he wasn't arrested, I I think a lot of people would still be in church right now.
you know, always say that, you know, I'm very thankful that the people that experienced whatever they, you know, whatever they did with this man, you know, came out and like they fucking spoke their truth, man. It's you know, it's scary. Um,
Hmm.
scary to, you know, for us to be even talking about this. But you know, I'm sure it's even much more um scarier for other those for those other for the Jane and John Does and you know everyone else that's good that's cooperating in the case. But um you know, I am super duper like eternally thankful for these people. They, you know, they fucking made history. You know, they fucking like tried to change something in the world. They tried to make it better. They try to make us stare like right into the heart of um this organization, the thing that was saying that it was so unquestionable, that it was immaculate, that it was the only pure organization on the planet. Fuck no. Like that. They said no to mental slavery, man. Like, you know, just to put it harshly, they said no to these dumb ideas. These are dumb ideas that Naason has magic powers. These are dumb ideas. And
Bro, I really believed it.
yeah, and but you know they try to make us, you know, feel like we're close to God and all these other things, but they frame it in a particular context. They're like, yeah, you're having this wonderful experience of speaking in tongues, but you're having it here in the church, and so this church is real. You know, we're the real people. We know what we're up to. We know how to, yeah, all that stuff. But yeah, man, I'm glad that we could talk about this, and you know, I hope that people appreciate what you had to say, and that um, you know, if people want to reach out to you, then I guess we'll say that they can reach out to me, and then we'll see what I can relay, you know, to you. But yeah, they, you know, thank
Hey,
you for coming on. I think this was great. Do you have any like
we gotta
closing
find out
thoughts?
first.
Do you have any closing thoughts?
uh, no, I think that's it. I think I talked about everything I needed to talk about. Maybe next time if I could be better.
Nah, nah,
But
for
yeah,
sure. I think you did great, and I'm glad that I could learn more about you, and I'm glad that you can, you know, find yourself on the other side. You know, now trying to help other folks think for themselves, and you know, try to get out of the group, and
yeah,
know
of
that other
course.
people have been in their sort of in their steps.
Hmm.
Cool, man. Well, I think we'll end it here. I'll end the recording process right now. So yeah, we'll say bye to everyone. So bye, everyone. Thank you.
Okay.
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe,
Bye.
hit comments, etc. Help us convince the YouTube algorithm that these conversations here are useful to people, and that more La Luz del Mundo people that are looking up La Luz del Mundo, you know, we hope that they can see this stuff too. So yeah, thanks everyone. Take care.